I'm going to talk about mitosis and meiosis. In mitosis, one diploid cell replicates and divides, and two new diploid cells are produced as a result. But in meiosis, one diploid cell replicates and divides, but four new diploid cells are produced as a result. Meiosis two in a woman begins during fertilization. Once egg is fertilized, it goes through stages of meiosis two, resulting in one fertilized egg that will become baby, and other three egg will become uh, will be referred to as polar body.
Okay, in Mendel's model, first, an alternative version of genes account for variations in inherited characters. The gene, for an example, in flower is exists in two versions, one for purple and one for white. These alternative versions of a gene are called alleles. Today, we can relate to this concept to chromosomes and DNA. Each gene in a sequence of nucleotides at a specific place, and that place on the chromosome will be called the locus. However, can vary slightly in its nucleotide sequence. This variation in information content can affect the function of the encoder protein and thus an inherited character of an organism. The Back to the example, the purple flower allele and the white flower allele are two DNA sequence variations possible at the flower color locus on one of a pea plant's chromosomes. The purple flower allele sequence allows synthesis of purple pigment and the white flower allele sequence does not. For an example, if once the offspring on this particular organism um, mixed together, the offspring will more than likely come out purple. And the reason being the alleles will differ in many organisms, giving them certain traits or certain stuff for them to be more dominant or recessive in. And secondly, for each character, an organism inherits two copies, that is, two alleles of a gene, one from each parent. Remarkably, the Mendel made this deduction without knowing about the role or even the existence of chromosomes. Each somatic cell in a diploid organism has two sets of chromosomes, one set inherited from each parent. Thus, a genetic locus is actually represented twice in a diploid cell, once on each homologue of a specific pair of chromosomes. The two alleles at a particular locus may be identical, as in the true breeding plants of Mendel's P generation, or the alleles may differ, as in the first purple plant hybrid. If the two alleles at a locus differ, then one, the dominant allele determines the organism's appearance. The other recessive allele has no noticeable effect on the organism's appearance. So, in other words, going back to our example, the purple plant must have had the more dominant allele, which is why the offspring became more, and then the recessive one would have been the white flower. Um, so, no notice effect on the offspring. And then, according to Mendel's first plant, which is the purple plant, had purple flowers because the allele for that trait is dominant and the allele for the white is recessive, which is okay. So final of the Mendel's model, the law of segregation states that the two alleles for a heritable character separate from each other during gametes formation and end up in different gametes. Thus, an egg or a sperm gives only one of the two alleles that are present in the somatic cells of the organism making the gamete. In terms of chromosomes, this segregation corresponds to the distribution of copies of the two members of a pair of homologous chromosomes to different gametes in meiosis.
Okay. Um, this is a demonstration for interphase in meiosis. Um, we are the pair of homologous chromosome in a parent cell, and she's from the mother, and I'm from the father. So after that, we're ready to duplicate to become a sister chromatid.
Okay, now we're going into meiosis one. The chromosomes are then going to cross over. So they cross over. Um, Basically, mom chromosome taking a piece from dad, and then dad taking a piece from mom. Um, then we move on to meiosis two. Um, in meiosis two, the sister chromatids will then break apart. And doing that, they just divide onto back to their original state, the one chromatid, and divide into two new cells. And that's meiosis. Next, we have centrodoma. DNA codes for genes, and genes are made of protein. Genes program protein synthesis via genetic messages in the form of messenger RNA. Put in another way, cells are governed by a molecular chain of command with a directional flow of genetic information. For an example, first there is DNA, and then DNA is then transcribed into RNA.
RNA.
And then from RNA are made proteins. And this is the summary of centrodoma.